So my job today is to try and make cybersecurity a little bit more interesting and try and convince you that actually good cybersecurity in your organization will help you win more customers, and it's not just an overhead. So I'm going to try and do that in a different way. What? So I want you to imagine this rope is your business. And in your business, there's some sales, marketing, HR, accounts, manufacturing, R&D, all those sorts of things. And typically what businesses do is, with those departments, they'll divide it up into divisions. So you'll end up with the various different important departments within your company. But we have to think about what happens when that catastrophic thing happens. M&S, catastrophic thing happened. We've had quite an exciting year actually, because M&S, Harrods, Co-op, to name but a few, they were high profile. They all got hacked, very expensive, and they were in chaos. You'd expect M&S to have a proper business continuity and disaster recovery plan in place, a BCDR, business continuity disaster recovery. But they didn't. And actually, if I asked any of you if you'd got a documented program as to, if you have a catastrophic thing happen to your business, what do? Have you got it documented? So somebody could pull a document out. I know who to ring and what actions to take to fix it. So a catastrophic thing that could happen to you could be your supplier being hacked. So if your supplier can't supply you with your critical stuff for you to do your business, then potentially you can't run your business either. And a good example of that was earlier in the year, a phlebotomy, if I said that right, a blood testing laboratory got hacked. They couldn't process thousands of blood tests. And so the problem for the NHS was they had to cancel literally thousands upon thousands of GPs and doctors' appointments. Also, they had to cancel operations, so theatres were left empty. And another good example was Peter Green Chilled. So just as M&S were being hacked, Peter Green Chilled got hacked, had hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of fresh veg, which they couldn't deliver to Aldi, Sainsbury's, Tesco, and other supermarkets. Those shelves were empty. So whilst the supermarkets aren't going to go out of business, that was a core bit of profit and revenue generating stuff. But also Henry and the other speakers have talked about reputation and and referrals. And if your reputation goes down, you don't get repeat business. People go elsewhere. This is very damaging. So if you think about who are your key suppliers, and if they couldn't deliver, how long could you continue doing business until you couldn't? And then think about it the other way. Are you a critical supplier to any of your customers? And if you couldn't deliver your service to them, what effect would it have on their business? The reason I'm bringing this up is, as awareness grows and the government puts in certifications, your customers are going to be asking you very tough questions about how you manage your business continuity, and that includes cybersecurity. So today, as I'm talking about cybercrime, I'm going to use this company as an example of a catastrophic cyber attack. And we do that like that. So now we've got a business that's cut in half. Just not functioning at all, is it? I mean, what do we do? Now, in my experience, and M&S wasn't any exception to this, chaos. So what actually happened was somebody went, I think I can fix this. And I see this time and time again in SMEs, because most SMEs don't have an IT department, or they have an IT department. But then going back to what Tim was talking about, novice, beginner, competent and master, you may have IT people around you who are masters at managing PCs and networks and Wi-Fi. But in my experience, most of them are beginners. What was it got? Beginner? Advanced beginners. They're not even competent at the more advanced cybersecurity stuff. So they come in and they go, don't worry, I think I can fix this. So, there you go. Now, the good thing is we're now kind of functioning, but it's still, we're still functioning, but there's loose ends and things aren't working quite right. So then maybe you call another company from outside. But you know, we again, going back to what our colleagues were talking about, if you're in an urgent situation, you don't have time to do all the reviews. You don't have time to get referrals. You just ring up and find somebody who's got availability to rush in and have a look. So they might be beginners, competent. They might even be competent. They might be. So they come in and they go, ooh, see what's happened here. I'm just going to tidy things up for you. There you go. That's better, isn't it? And you go, well, it's working a bit better. And you go, well, just leave it a few days and it'll just drop out. But, you know, it'll just drop out. But, you know, the reality is it doesn't. Computers are complex living things. So then perhaps what you do is you call a master. Oh, that could be me. Anyway, you call a master and we come in and we go, aha, okay, well, let's move the issue out the way over there. Let's get our specs out. We'll do a little bit of forensics. Yeah, we see where the problem is. Now, what we're trying to do here is work out, how did the criminals get in the first place? What were the weaknesses in your environment? And what were they trying to achieve by doing it? So once we've worked that out, and then we've guided you as to what other things you can do to stop it happening again, we move the knot back to where it was, and it's all one. Network again. Oh, wow. Oh, no, no. Please, please don't stop. But well, you just just a couple of things. The beginner came in, no, the competent or the competent came in, but they did actually cut a few things off. That could be the cost to you of paying for the outside people to come in, the lost productivity of your organization, It could even be fines if you're a regulated organization. It could even be the ransomware that you paid. And you may not even have had insurance to help you pay for it. That could be your reputation and brand, which is a little less tangible. But it's those customers that aren't going to come back. It's those customers that aren't even going to come to you because your reputation's a bit kind of compromised. So what do we do? I mean, ideally, what we want is security and a business continuity program that means that when the worst thing happens and the worst thing happens and you get this catastrophic event, you've just been hacked, ideally you don't even want to know. If you can outsource it to companies that understand this stuff, I mean, why would you want to build that expertise in-house? It always amazes me that companies that have no IT, nothing related to IT or security, do it themselves. Outsource it to the experts. So you don't even know you've been attacked, and the experts detect it. But may I ask for a bit of assistance here, actually? If you wouldn't mind just grabbing that in there, Matt, isn't it? Yeah. And Carolyn? Yep. If you could just gently pull the... so how much easier was that? No loose ends. No panicked kind of, oh my God, can you get in here? We haven't done any referrals, but can you get in here and have a look at our systems and get us up and running? So yeah, thank you for that. Did you clap, by the way? I can't remember. Oh yeah, oh thanks. Thank you so much. So that is an example where your organization could have been compromised, or it could have been one of your suppliers. I've got another little visual to do, and then maybe I'll do some slides and give you some tips. So got a handkerchief here. I promise I haven't blown my nose on it. I want you to imagine, and I might use you, sir, if that's all right. What's your name? Paul. Paul, if it's all right, if I can use you. I want you to imagine that I'm your customer. So you're my supplier. Now, as your customer, I've got a layer of protection, antivirus, probably a firewall. I may not have anything else. So what I'm asking you to do, Paul, is I want you to send me an email with an attachment, which could be an invoice. So if you could just use your finger to send me an email and just pop your finger in there.
This is being recorded.
Yes, it is being. Yeah, I don't think the camera can see us actually, but yeah. So that's brilliant. So you've now sent me an email. Now we're going to scan that, but unfortunately, you have sent me a bit of malware. Now, you didn't know you'd got malware. The malware hasn't even affected your system. What the hackers are after is me, because I'm big. I've got thousands of bits of sensitive data. Talking about sensitive data, what do you think a criminal can sell a credit card for in what we call the dark web? Any thoughts? Credit, how much? Well, one card, that's pretty good. It's a bit over the top, Tim, if I might be not wishing to be impolite, but a tenner typically is for one card. But they don't steal one card. When you open the papers and they go, oh yeah, 1 million people's data's been stolen and they got away with 10,000 credit cards. Well, that's, what was it, 100 grand? 100 grand? Well, 100 grand for sitting on your proverbial at home, not really having to do much, and actually in the safety of Russia, Korea, China, wherever it is. So you haven't even got to get a shotgun out and walk into a bank. So they're after me. So they use often use you guys. You may have, say you've got 50 customers. If they can deposit a bit of malware in your system, every time you send your customer an attachment or even just an email, you are potentially infecting your customers, which again is why customers are going to start asking you tough questions. How do we know you're not sending us that? So I'm going to ask you to help me again, because what we want to find out is whether this customer's security did actually manage to pick it up. So Paul, if you wouldn't mind just grabbing that with your left hand and the other corner there with your right hand and giving a little bit of a tug. Oh, well, the malware's gone from here, but actually is now in my network. So this weak security didn't do the job. So you don't know you've infected me, and I don't know I've been infected. So now this bit of malware is going to wind its way around my network, searching for all the intelligent, good stuff. So it can steal it, disrupt it, create problems. And actually, at the end of the day, the annoying thing is I don't even know I've got it. Is it? Oh, thank you so much. So, supply chain management, really important. Business continuity, really important. How am I doing for time? So I've got about 15 to 20 minutes, which is perfect. I've got just a few slides with my top tips on what you can do now to dramatically improve the security that you've got across, whether you've got one PC or 100 PCs and servers and all the rest of it. Tips to help you understand what the threat is and how you can reduce the risk. So just going back to the supply chain thing though, when your customers, if they haven't already, come to you and say, how do you manage your security? What sort of security systems have you got in place? Do you know how you answer it? How would you answer it at the moment? I'll make that a rhetorical question. It's a bit unfair asking you. But one way to demonstrate to the market and to your customers that you are taking cybersecurity seriously and you've got some good practices in place is to become Cyber Essentials certified. Have you heard of this before? Good? Oh, good. So this is a government-driven thing. So this isn't just some far-flung thing. This is something that the government's put together to try and reduce this, this whole cyber threat to SMEs. SMEs are receive 82% of the attacks. So an awful lot of SMEs I talk to, they go, we haven't got anything worth nicking. Nobody's interested in us. It doesn't matter. These criminals are indiscriminate. They buy as a service now. They buy cyber threats as a service, so they can just, for a few $100, just flood it out to anybody they can get access to. And that could be your grandma, your kids, and your business. So Cyber Essentials is a really valuable and easy way to just quickly answer customers' concerns about your ability to protect yourselves. Let's see what slides I put together. Can everybody see that, or shall I close these? Shall I close the curtains? Oh, well, that was the agenda. So I've talked about some real examples. And the fact that good security will help you grow business because, for example, if you want to deal with public sector have been mandated that whoever they work with has got Cyber Essentials. I think, sometimes people get around it, but but that's been mandated. And if you haven't got good security, then you can be excluded from bidding for stuff. I mean, it's just there was a solicitor in the Law Society magazine in January, and they'd been informed by one of the people buying a house through that, using them to conveyance. They got an email saying, "Oh, can you pay the proceeds to a different bank account?" So they did. Just bizarre. You know, where's the process? You know, they tried to use their process. They tried to say, "Look, can we ring you? Can we speak to you? Because we can't, we don't do that." And they went, no, it's fine. We're busy. We're abroad or whatever it is. We're busy. Just do it. It's fine. So they did. £290,000 just gone to the criminals. And the solicitors didn't even tell the authorities because they claimed it on the insurance. So they got all the money back. So the sellers weren't impacted. But then the solicitors got discovered, so they got fines and all sorts of stuff going against them. So, and actually, increasingly, you could be held as a director of a company if you lose sensitive information about your customers, and this is usually about people rather than companies, but you can be held responsible, and it gets expensive. The average cost to an SME of a breach is £1,500, and I think quite sure where that data comes from, because in my view it's got to be higher. I can't understand how it could be that low, but anyway. And M&S 300 million. So what are the common things that I see companies aren't doing? Staff awareness. It can be free. There's stuff on the government website, the NCSC, that's the National Cyber Security Centre. Free cybersecurity training. There's other companies that are giving it away for free. If you want something more sophisticated, it's still really affordable. It's like £2 or £3 a month per employee. And it's proven that if you teach your staff what to look out for, you're less likely to get breached. The way that criminals get into your network is still predominantly email. So that's phishing. It's 17 different types of phishing. Now, everybody goes, "Oh yeah, I know what phishing is." 17 different types. Do you know what all those 17 different are? Not sure I do either. But anyway, there's 17 of them. So teach your staff good practice. Good practice is as simple as, don't put a post-it on your computer with a password on it. Don't stick the Wi-Fi code up on the board, unless it's a protected guest Wi-Fi. You know, it's just simple. There are simple things. If you're in a bigger organization, don't let people tailgate you. If a professional hacker wants to get into a big company, they don a pizza coat, get some boxes, and they walk up, and everybody's so helpful. "Oh, come on. Yeah, come on in. Which floor do you want? I'll push the button for you." You know, I mean, it's so easy, but simple things like that. Putting a high-vis jacket on gives you access to all sorts of places in companies. It's just totally mad. Staff awareness training, bloody brilliant. Weak passwords. Customer, they became a customer of mine, rang me up. The MD, they're a manufacturing company, and the MD said, "I walked into the office today, my accounts payable person said, 'So you're all right to pay Josh 150 grand?' And that wasn't an untypical kind of payment that they were making." And he went, Who's Josh? His PC had been, his account had been taken over. So this guy, Josh, had visibility of his bank accounts. So he could see how much money was in the bank, could see what type of payments they were making. He knew he could then send an email. I say he, could have been a she. So I apologize to everybody here for being not quite as woke as I should be. But anyway, so this guy, but Josh, you'd think is a bloke. So Josh, Josh has sent an email to the accounts payable person from the MD's PC saying, please pay Josh. Here's the bank details, 150 grand. So she did. And so when I check them out, you can scan, I can scan organizations. You can actually scan to a certain extent yourself. You go to something called Have I Been Pawned? It'll tell you if your email and any of your passwords are out there in the dark web. So I looked and I went, actually, you guys, I can only find one user who doesn't work for you anymore and one password. And it was whatever it was. And they went, yeah, that's right. What do you mean that's right? Yeah, that's the password we all use to get into Sage, into our finance systems. One password, everybody knew it, and even the bloke who'd left. So completely daft. Passwords, and if we won't have time. If we had time, I'd show you a way to put a unique password together that is memorable, that would be really hard for criminals to guess, but easy for you to remember every time you had to put a password in. Lack of business continuity plan and visibility. There you go. Well, we've already talked about that. If nothing, so as I walk past you, Paul, out there, I heard you say something about cyber insurance, actually. If you get certified with Cyber Essentials, you'll get, as standard, £25,000 worth of insurance. So what that insurance would do is it would be able to pay for your beginner or competent, or hopefully in this case, the proficient person to come in, fix all your systems and make sure that you're good and sound. And maybe even negotiate with the hackers about the ransomware. But basically help you get back up. I'm not saying call the insurance company, that's your business continuity plan necessarily, but it's a big step towards one. If you do Cyber Essentials through me, as it happens, the way we do it, we can give you up to £250,000, because 25 grand gets gobbled up quite quick, but we can give you £250,000 worth of insurance as part of the certification. It's really important, this, because Aviva have now got enough historical information to say, if you've got Cyber Essentials, you are 92% less likely to put a cyber claim in than a company that hasn't got it. So that's why we can give away a nice lot of insurance cover. So, other things you can do. Staff awareness training, you can either learn how to do passwords yourself, or you can get a password manager. They're cheap, affordable. In fact, I think Google have got a password manager now, haven't they? And I think Mac have the keychain password manager. So there are free ones out there anyway that you can use. But you know, use a password manager, and then you haven't even got to kind of go, what was the last password? How many of you are using Microsoft Office 365? You are. You're not. Oh, okay. Are you using Google Workspace? Right. Are you backing it up? Is anybody backing up either Google Workspace or Office 365? Okay. How are you doing that? Very good. How about you? How are you doing it? You want to... Yeah, yeah, brilliant. So if you're not backing up, get it backed up, because a lot of the common misconception is, well, Google are doing it for me. Microsoft, that's what I'm paying for. It's in the cloud. Yeah, it's in the cloud for 30 days. If you delete a file or worse still, something we call insider threat. If one of your employees either maliciously or incompetently deletes a load of files, if you haven't recovered it within 30 days, that's gone. If they make changes to those files, they could change terms and conditions on contracts. You wouldn't even know about it. You wouldn't even be able to go back to a version that was correct. So cloud backup, really, really important. Again, incredibly low cost. I don't know how much you're being charged, but it should be 3 or 4 quid per user per month, and that could be for like terabytes, well, hundreds of gigabytes of data. Oh, and patching. Do you know what patching is? Oh, okay. So when you're logged onto your computer, Microsoft pops up and updates here ready to install. What do? Straight away? I mean, yeah. Exactly. So you're unusual, if I might, in a positive way. No, but in a very positive way. But you are unusual. So most people kind of go, "Oh, I can't be bothered." Like Marcus just said, you know, I'm in the middle of something. Click, do it later, do it later, do it later. Now that's what criminals are looking for. If they've got any visibility of your computer systems, if they can find software, it's not just Microsoft, it's software that hasn't been patched. So the next question is, how many of you know how many applications you've got installed on your computers? And that can be rhetorical as well. And if you do know, and if you can do a list of all those apps, how many of them have been updated? Because most of them don't automatically update. So you could have Adobe and just trying to think of some of the apps. Anyway, you could have a whole bunch of applications on your computers that haven't been patched. That's what criminals are looking for. That's why you've got Microsoft talking about Patch Tuesday, because they're trying to encourage everybody to patch. But patching is, look, all of these things you can do for free. Cloud backup, maybe you should probably pay a trivial amount, but these are free things you can go back to your office today and start proactively doing. If you've got a little bit of money, actually, you don't need money because I've called it free, but if you want to understand how ready you are for cyber essentials, we'll do an assessment for you. Very happy to do that. No obligation, but we'll tell you, what sort of things you'd need to be putting in place. Another thing that people miss is inbound email. So, Paul infected me. Thanks very much. Thanks. Having an AI-based inbound email monitoring system. So it's not just looking at the attachments and maybe a few URLs. It's looking at the context of it. It's looking at the headers to where it's come from. So it's looking at all the indicators of threat and getting rid of it. Now, a lot of companies will say to me, Microsoft do that. We don't need that. Defender, we've got Defender. That does it. No, it doesn't. It's Microsoft security is good enough. And in this market, good enough is not good enough. You need the best security you can get. Even if you're just a one-man band with nothing worth stealing, you've got to take it seriously. This one, outbound, has anybody heard of spoofing? So, good. Would you like to explain? No, I'm not going to do that. So spoofing is where criminals can literally take your email address and send an email that looks exactly like you. And that's almost certainly what happened with that solicitor. They got an email from the sellers, looked exactly like them, and so it was believable. Creelan Bank a few years ago, the staff got an email saying transfer 75 million pounds or euro, probably euros, Belgian bank, transfer 75 million to this place. Criminals knew the CEO was in an aeroplane when the email went. So they're all the staff are running around, but the wording of the email, the signature, the email address, everything is bang on. So it's convincing. So they go, well, we better do it. We must do it. I know he's up there, but well, when I say up there, he's in an aeroplane. We better do it. So they did. 75 million. I mean, so there's ways to protect your email domain from being spoofed. So few companies are doing it. But there's another element to this. How many of you are potentially sending 5,000 emails in one day? Are you doing any bulk mailings or anything like that? What's happening with Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, including Hotmail, is they're putting in controls. And these controls are going to get tougher, but at the moment it's aimed at companies that are doing bulk email. Which is, if you don't have something called DMARC record set up, they're not going to deliver your email. So a few companies have kind of gone, oh, we better set up a DMARC record. Well, as soon as you set up a DMARC record, you're telling all the criminal hackers out there that you're using your domain and is not protected. So you've got to make sure that this setting is in something called reject. But companies are getting to the DMARC record going, we're good. But they haven't put it in reject mode. So now they just advertise. It's a bit like leaving your front door open, saying, here you go, front door's open, come on in. So the real way to protect yourself costs a bit more money. But if we go back to this whole business continuity thing where I just cut the rope and it was whole again, that's what you want. That's what you need. That's by far the best way to do it. That's what we call a SOC, a Security Operations Center. So that is where all of your devices are monitored 24/7, round the clock. And it's monitored by sophisticated systems, but also by analysts who look at anything that looks a bit anomalous. And then they can come in and they can make the right adjustments to your systems to either stop the attack or at least contain it. So that's by far the most effective. And within that, you'd get quite a lot of that as well. So, and then if you work with us, so to the same sentiment that Growth by Design offer a complimentary consultation, very happy to talk. As you can see, I'm very happy to talk about cybersecurity. So, but if you want to understand potentially where your threats might be, how to get cyber essentials, what that SOC might, if it's appropriate for you, then we can help put a tailored sort of set of guidance forward for you. And you can book it with that scan code, but it is on my business card, and you've all got one of my business cards. That's why I didn't tell you who I was right at the beginning, because you've all got my business card. And that's it. And then sleep well at night. Thank you so much for listening.
Next slide. That's it, perfect. So guys, one of the things obviously we try and do is improve these each and every time we do them. To do that, we need a bit of feedback from you. If I could just ask you for 2 minutes from your side, that would be very much appreciated. And just give us your thoughts, let us know what we did well,